Arguably, the biggest storyline of this offseason for the Golden State Warriors has been the future prospects of wing Jonathan Kuminga, who has long been a polarizing player in the Bay Area and whose trade market has dried up, per Brett Siegel of Clutch Points. Still, recently, the Sacramento Kings have been tied to the former 2021 first-round draft pick in a potential trade scenario. Sam Amick of The Athletic recently stopped by 95.7 the game and spoke on the current state of those talks and what it would take to get the Warriors on board. So, it feels like that the focus for the Warriors, for one, I was actually told that Keegan Murray and Keon Ellis have not even been discussed for what it's worth, reported Amick via Hoops Hype. And then on top of that, the Warriors' focus seems to be on the pick, and if the Kings want the Warriors' request is then go completely unprotected on the 2030 first-rounder. I think if the Kings obliged, then it feels like that deal would get done. And so it feels like the focus is more on the pick than it is them trying to get any other young prospects from the Kings. The 2030 draft pick from the Kings could be especially valuable considering the current trajectory of the Sacramento franchise. Strange times for the Warriors. The Warriors' reported desire for draft compensation as opposed to current NBA talent from the Kings would seem to signify more of a long-term outlook for the Golden State front office. However, the team is currently trying to wring everything it can out of the Stephen Curry era before it's too late, making win-now moves more of a realistic pathway to that outcome. There's no denying Kuminga's talent, which he flashed after Curry got injured in the Warriors' second-round series loss versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. However, there have also been plenty of questions about Kuminga's fit in Steve Kerr's offense and whether he is truly a good complementary piece for a Curry-led team. In any case, we could be finding out how the Kuminga situation resolves itself sooner rather than later. Jonathan Kuminga's ongoing free agency situation is drawing plenty of frustration among fans, with the debacle potentially dimming the otherwise anticipated signing of veteran center Al Horford. Yet beyond the current offseason landscape, Horford's impact to the Warriors could be negated by Kuminga's potential departure as the young forward and his camp plot a move away from the franchise via a sign-and-trade. Al Horford's arrival could really benefit Jonathan Kuminga. Horford projects to be a key rotation piece who could optimize other players with his presence as a stretch five and general versatility on both ends of the floor. Yet of all the players he could help the most, Kuminga might be the biggest beneficiary should he eventually re-sign with Golden State. Since Kuminga was drafted 7th overall in 2021, the Warriors have never really had a quality veteran center capable of spacing the floor to clear the paint for the 22-year-old's ferocious driving ability. Kuminga and Quinton Post played just 88 combined regular season and playoff minutes together in the final stages of last season, failing to yield great results, which may be no real surprise given the youth and inexperience of both. That could change with Horford, though, with the 39-year-old not only balancing Kuminga's offense, but perhaps also mitigating the risks that come with having multiple young players on the floor. While there are genuine concerns between Kuminga's fit with Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green, Horford could be the connective piece that reduces those issues. Horford should be a valuable signing regardless, but suddenly it looks a little worse if Kuminga departs without another similar-level athlete and interior force coming back the other way. The player Horford could help the most would be out the door, and it might leave the 18-year veteran with more of a defensive task in terms of potential 3- or 4-guard lineups implemented by Steve Kerr. Golden State are thus far resisting Kuminga's wish to join the Phoenix Suns or perhaps more likely the Sacramento Kings, having turned down trade offers with the intent of re-signing their wannabe youngster. The idea of playing alongside Horford should be one of the key selling points in trying to convince Kuminga to return, with the potential of unlocking his game to a level where player and franchise actually have a longer union than next year's mid-season deadline. That would seem a far-fetched idea at this point in proceedings, yet there's an impact that Horford could have that shouldn't be ignored and would be left as a major. What if, should he walk in as Kuminga departs? The Golden State Warriors have seemingly lined up their next 3 signings as soon as they resolve the Jonathan Kuminga situation. The problem is that all 3 share a fatal flaw that could doom the Warriors next season and make Steve Kerr's job nearly impossible. The Warriors have been silent this summer in free agency, not executing a single trade or signing a single player. Everything is waiting on Jonathan Kuminga. The restricted free agent isn't willing to sign the offers the Warriors have put on the table, nor have the Warriors found a sign-and-trade situation they like. Until that situation is resolved, Mike Dunleavy Jr. and the Warriors don't want to lock in other signings in case they need the financial or roster flexibility. Even so, the reporting around who they expect to sign has rolled in and created a queue behind Kuminga. The key name is Al Horford, fresh off a championship run with the Boston Celtics in 2024 and another solid season as a stretch five with real defensive chops. A remarkable transformation for a player who was once a high-usage all-star. In addition to using their taxpayer mid-level exception on Horford to fill their need at center, the Warriors are expected to bring back DeAnthony Melton, who signed a one-year deal with Golden State last summer only to tear his ACL early in his tenure. Getting him on the minimum seems like a fantastic piece of business if he can return healthy and at the level he was at before. Finally, a familiar name is rumored to be joining his brother on the Warriors, Seth Curry. For all of his other deficiencies, Curry is a sharpshooter like his brother, and in fact boasts a better career three-point percentage than Steph. There is a problem running through all three of those signings, however, and it's one that will only be echoed by the rest of the roster, especially if Kuminga ends up on another team. The Warriors are planning to sign three players who are old, injured, or both. And that's a recipe for disaster. The Warriors are about to get really old and fragile. Al Horford has been relatively durable during his career, but he is 39 years old, the fifth oldest player in the entire NBA this season. He cannot play every game at his age and expect to either remain healthy or be at his best when the playoffs roll around. He has played between 60 and 65 games in each of the last 3 seasons, as the Celtics rested him occasionally to keep him fresh and healthy. It's possible he drops off anytime this season as well, either due to nagging injuries or something more serious. Players rarely maintain a high level of play at this age. That Horford is defying the odds is impressive, but, at some point, likely to change. DeAnthony Melton, on the other hand, is coming off of an ACL tear. When the 2025-26 seasons begins, he will not yet be a year removed from that injury, meaning he could miss the start of the regular season or be hampered for a time. The season before, Melton was limited to only 38 games due to injury. Expecting him to be and stay healthy is likely a fool's errand. Finally, Seth Curry is a mixture of both. He will turn 35 years old this month, so he is hardly a spring chicken. Additionally, he has battled a number of injuries during his career, and while he played in 68 games last season, not exactly an Iron Man at that, he was limited to only 40 for the season before. The Warriors are already an older team, from Stephen Curry and Draymond Green to newcomer Jimmy Butler. Once they add in a trio of older or injury-prone players, the chances of significant players missing a high volume of games is going to skyrocket. For a team that has struggled with its depth as it is, this will be a major challenge for Steve Kerr to manage. If everyone is healthy and available, the upside of this group will be extremely high. More likely, however, is that the yawning downside happens for at least one of these signings. If it happens to enough of them, this season for the Warriors could be doomed from the start. Jonathan Kuminga has been one of the big talking points of the NBA offseason. The Golden State Warriors youngster has been quite unhappy with his role in the franchise for some time. His exit has seemed inevitable, although being a restricted free agent seems to have complicated matters. Kuminga wants a bigger role than the one he's had with the Warriors. And while the team isn't valuing him at the same level, they seem to at least be open to moving the 22-year-old. The Athletic recently revealed what the Sacramento Kings and Phoenix Suns are willing to offer for Kuminga. While it's certainly notable that Phoenix is being so aggressive with its contract offer, for years and a combined $90 million per ESPN, that part is irrelevant so long as Golden State continues to show zero interest in what the Suns have to offer, Sam Amick reported for The Athletic. As for the Kings, team sources say they've offered a 3-year, $63 million deal for Kuminga in a proposal that would send veteran guard Malik Monk and their 2030 first-round pick, lottery protected, to the Warriors. The Warriors have insisted the first-rounder be unprotected. Thus, the stalemate. These offers seem interesting, but Golden State seems content with potentially revisiting the Kuminga trade market later in the season. He's averaged 15.8 points and 4.7 rebounds per game over the last 2 seasons. the team is well within its rights to hold on for its ideal offer.